What is going on, guys? Today we are looking at Blanc as an icon centre-back. 88 rated, 2-star, 3-star, mostly lengthy with a right foot, and he is 6'5". He can be a cam as well. If you remember back from last year, or if you've never played last year, the base version of him was an 85 cam, so he still technically can play that role. Whether you'd want to is probably very unlikely. We have got the shadow on him just to add that little bit of pace boost, and he is coming in at the moment at, I believe, about 420,000 coins, give or take about 415. I think we got him for about 415 on a little snipe, so I think he's kind of fluctuating around there. In terms of the Playstyle Plus, we have Anticipate, we also have Jockey, Bruiser, and also Aerial as the other styles. And in terms of stats, defending looking fantastic. Unfortunately, we have to go with a Shadow rather than an Anchor, just because we want extra pace as possible, or at least as much as possible. We'll keep him mostly lengthy still with 86 pace, 96 on that defending, and he'll be a 92 defender overall. If you did want to go Anchor, then you'd end up with 82 pace, 95 defending, and 90 physical, still keeping him a 92 rated centre back, but he would be lengthy rather than mostly lengthy. So let's jump into him and see if he's worth it, because I've heard there's an SBC coming. FC24 is here, and Sky Coach has all your needs covered. From squad battles, champs, qualifications, and even now draft boosting, there is a long list of services they do give, as well as coaching, and also the big one everybody wants in FC24 coins. The service is fast and reliable, and you will get your coins, your boosting services, or obviously coaching in a matter of hours. If you do want to get any of these, make sure you head over to skycoach.gg, go onto the website, and when you go to checkout, make sure that you are using the code JT11 at checkout for your 5% off your orders. And if you'd prefer to do this on mobile, check out the screen right now with the QR code for their mobile app. For whatever reason, Blanc has managed to make his way into the final thirds, still proving that he can be a cam, and I think he's won a free kick for us. Playing it around the back, and we got a little bit of a pass on him maybe. It's a good little lob pass. Header not so much, but I do think in terms of a centre-back, he definitely normally is one of the better ones, but it tends to come from the Prime version. Mid-Blanc normally is alright, and then Prime is just even better, and just from a standard centre-back. Are we going to the free kick? Just as a standard centre-back. He's not necessarily flashy with a pace or anything like that, but he normally has a good amount of stats across the board, really. Watching him in the middle here if we can. He's going to look for that cut back. The big thing is he's going to be big boy Verge. Oh, I've overcommitted there. Luckily, that's what I mean. Verge is just outstanding. Did overcommit and press B far too early there, which definitely, if I didn't have somebody who is a great recovery artist as well, would have been absolutely the end. As we find Trent in here. Can we pick out the pass coming back? No. Finding him across here, looking for that pass. Keeps up with, keeps up with Theo. Keep that lengthiness. He's going to go for the cut. Get the block. Ow. Watching the cover. Felan Mendy trying to take out Take. Lovely. Beautiful. I think it's takes Cubo, isn't it? I want to say. And again, he's going to look for Werner. Get the tackle. That is stunning. Last-ditched attempt. It's either a red card or he's going to block it, which I'm glad that it was the latter. And I think in general, in terms of defensive ability, he is absolutely stunning. Beautiful centre-back. Does the business. Gets the tackles in. It's exactly what you need in terms of a centre-back as well. Leads us all the way. And Neuer with a great tackle, well, great block as well. I think in terms of centre-backs, you've got to have a good pairing this year. He's done for it. Can we get a little header off? Back to him. Dembele coming across goal, but not quick enough. Bang. There's the goal. And in terms of centre-backs, the pairing is kind of as important as kind of just any position on the pitch now, especially with the different elements of attack when we're seeing the likes of Dembele just absolutely blasted down the wing, being able to make the block, the tackle, the slide. There's so many different things that you've got to think about. It's not just necessarily having a Virgil and Maldini together. Yes, it works, but having the Playstyle Pluses link up as well, which again is very important depending on what you want. So we'll discuss that at the end of kind of what is the best Playstyle Plus for defenders. I've got a whole video on kind of my take of Playstyle Pluses and what's more beneficial for the position. It doesn't mean it's necessarily set in stone, and sometimes it can change depending on your game style itself and kind of how you play versus like how I play in general. So that is always a nice interesting path to go down, and I think this year centre backs more than ever, and to be honest probably last year as well, there is a lot of very good centre backs. Top tier. You're looking at Maldini, you're looking at Virgil, and probably Lucio more than anything as the absolute pinnacle. There is players pretty much close to them, but most definitely in the top tier. Say if you go in an S1 and an S if you are relevant, or at least relevant if you are more used to my tier list, you'll know full well that the S1 is the pinnacle, the cherry on top, the Virgils, Golds, the Mbappes, the Peles, the R9s, whereas your top end ones are your Etos, your Fernando Torreses. Same with when it comes to centre backs, you're looking predominantly along the lines of Varane, Militao, Rudiger, Kounde as both versions, to be honest, where they are absolutely brilliant, but they're not quite the top of the top. Blanc watch in the middle. The hardest thing when it comes to reviewing centre-backs as well is Virgil makes anybody look good. As long as you've kind of got a little bit of defending ability, you're going to be able to do it. And Virg will most definitely make you look even better if I can get the tackle. Lovely stuff. And I think the big thing with them is just don't jump in. You don't jump in. People are always looking for the guaranteed goal aspect. They're not going for a 50-50. They want that as close to 100% going to be a goal as they can actually get. So you will find the cutback, the shimmy and trying to find their way around until they get that option. So if you don't jump in, eventually they either run out of options, run out of room, or you do manage to land the tackle. Blanc with a header. It's a solid header, come off the post, and Ansu Fati finishes it. That's what we want from our centre-back. Virgil does the same, Varane does the same, and now Blanc is just as good from a corner. Blanc watching the options here. Oh, we've left that wide open. There's the tackle. Stunning. Brilliant. Love a good challenge, me. Oh, got to watch that second option. Virgil's going to try and dance in. Blanc's not there to recover. Couldn't go for the tackle. You know full well, especially in this year's edition, you go for that kind of B tackle to maybe put them off. You get a clip on them, it's a red card. Naturally, it's a penalty red card guaranteed. So I always suggest if you're not going to get there and you know full well not to get there, don't touch the B button if you are on tactical defending, because you will get a red card this year. I felt like last year it was actually quite difficult to get a red card. You had to really put some effort in, put a bit of work in to get that red card. Is he going to go for that? Ooh, nearly. Whereas this year, you just breathe on them in a funny way in the box, and they will give a penalty 100% of the time. Blanc seeing a bit of work down this byline. Like I say, you can play cam, so if you want a cam that necessarily costs you 400k, and you could probably get a better one for 20,000 goods. He was very unlucky not to get clipped there. Ooh, overcommitted. Oh, but an interception is perfect. Blanc watching Osimhen. It's easy work. Just keep him going. Blanc. Oh, stunning. Ooh, and again, got Kubo on it. He's going to look for that pass across. See if we can get enough, and we managed to get the block. You can manual block as well. I don't believe that you could last year, but, well, I was joking. AI was definitely in control of any block last year, whereas this year, just putting him in the slight direction works out an absolute treat, rather than trying to run around like a headless chicken, trying to get the tackle in first. So going into the overall for Blanc then, currently coming in, I believe it's about 425, yeah, 425 to 420. We have seen in the hourly chart, if you kind of go a bit further down, that you can see kind of can dip to about 400 at times. I don't know daily wise, we've got 500. We can see since the kind of SBC release date, so he was... Well, I think we got it on the Friday was the news. So you could see it took a little bit of a tumble there, 441 to 428. Whether people started finding out that there's a potential SBC coming out, that might have been a reason why he's kind of gone down that little bit. It's just very random, just before FUT Champs for a decent player to get kind of downgraded in terms of price, but it could have just been coincident. But apparently we are getting an SBC from him. Whether we do, we will see this Sunday, like how Beckham was out. Maybe that is going to be the next one. Every Sunday we get an icon. In terms of chemistry style, I think Shadow's got to be the one, really. Get the pace, bit more defending. Physical-wise, we're doing fine. We've got a good amount of play styles to keep us going, good amount of strength to keep us going as well. Good composure, reactions and ball control, as well as then a decent amount of passing for a centre-back. I think the Anticipate is always a really nice play style as well, and mixed with Jockey, Bruiser and Aerial, it adds to a good centre-back. And I think if we look at the centre-back list right now, he may not be the most not necessarily effective, but he might not be the most efficient for the coins that you'd spend, purely for the fact that icons are still quite expensive because they're not packable. I suppose they're not packable really, but they are very hard to pack. So we are looking at like a Kounde for 500. I think that's going to be a way better option in personal preference. Even a Virgil at 200. I'd much rather go for a Virgil than spend double the amount for Blanc. I could go get Virgil and Kounde, Virgil and pretty much most gold centre-backs. You go get Militao. You could get a pairing for the price of one. It is purely down to the icon. So now you've got to really ask yourself, if you're doing the SBC, if he does come out, is he worth that? That's going to be the big question, because I can imagine, like Beckham, he's going to be roughly about the same sort of price that his actual transfer card is. So we're looking at about at least 400 to 450 at a minimum. Whether I see 500, I think that might be a little bit too much for Blanc, because we know full well once we get the SBC, the price is going to go down. Naturally, it always does. If I look at him where other icons are, Rijkaard I personally like as a CDM rather than a centre-back. Same with Desai, to be honest, even though he probably could play centre-back quite well. We then have Rio, always good, lengthy as well. And that's kind of the other argument you could go with for the chemistry styles, is Anchor makes him fully lengthy, whereas mostly lengthy is just the Shadow. So the lengthy could be more onto the Anchor side of stuff rather than Shadow, purely for the acceleration type that could help him over a longer distance, losing 4 pace, if you get what I'm saying. In terms of a centre-back, perfect. Great tackling, great sliding, great defending. Physical-wise, absolutely spot on. Pace-wise, good enough. I think most definitely right now, we don't need an upgrade just yet. I do think he can do the business. The only thing it really comes down to is the pricing of him. If the SBC is a good price, he's a well worth centre-back to get in there if you haven't already got your Virgil, your Varans, your Koundes, your Militaos, your Marquinhoses. There's just endless amount of names that you can go with. Even Tomore as well, another cracking one. So it isn't necessarily a need, but more of a want at this point. A 10 out of 10 centre-back, I think he's perfect with what he can do. Whether we see a bigger upgrade in the future, that hopefully is yet to come. Let me know down below what you think about Blanc, and I'll catch you all for the next one. Peace, mate.